Hi everybody, welcome and welcome back. It is me, Chameleon Girl Gina, and today we're going to go ahead and make some boneless beef short ribs. Now, I have made short ribs before with the bone in, and I mean, they was good, but this one, I just feel like I'm going to follow somewhat of a recipe that this friend of mine on Facebook had done, and I mean, they were looking just that good. Connected to the bone still and everything. But this time I'm going to be using some boneless beef short ribs. Okay, and I'm going to use a little bit of kosher salt. And y'all know I'm putting some accent on there. The first thing is that I'm going to put some olive oil. I'm going to just drizzle a little to have the seasonings adhere to the meat. And then I'll go ahead and do some garlic salt. And then I'll also add a little onion powder, some white pepper. White pepper has a different spice and taste and flavor from black pepper, so that's why we're just going to kind of mix it up like that. I'm going to use a little bit of onion salt. What else do I feel like I want to use? Of course, some ground black pepper. I don't want coarse in this because I'm doing the white pepper as well. And then, of course, we're going to have some paprika on there. Most, for color for me. And I believe that is all that we're going to be using today. And so here I have here about, we're going to say 7 pounds of beef short ribs. Okay guys, so first things first, as I have mentioned, what I'm going to do is add a little olive oil. Something about olive oil and kosher salt gives your meat a little tenderizing effect. It just does, I don't know. And if you got some real tough meat or something like that, then you can always make you like a little gravy to go over it and then put it in the oven for a little bit. It'll tenderize it as well. It's like, I can't even explain what it is. Okay, and so then anyway, I'm a two-taste person. So what I always suggest when following any recipe, especially, mine, well, anybody, just make it your own. Do, what you like. If you know that you like just very low sodium, then certainly, add less. You don't have to do just because somebody else is seasoning up their food a different way. And with most of my recipes, just use your favorite seasonings. Like, everything is not required. So we'll go ahead and start by adding about a teaspoon of accent. We will add then about maybe 3/4 teaspoon kosher salt. So not much on the kosher salt, but you're going to need it. And then you're going to add some ground black pepper, about 1.5 teaspoons. And then we're going to add some garlic salt. And we're not going to add a lot because we're also adding some garlic powder. So we'll say 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt. All these, bless you sweetie, all these things contain sodium in there that I've added so far, except for the pepper. So you have to take into consideration, if a 1/2 teaspoon of this, 1/2 teaspoon, at the end of you adding these 1/2 teaspoons or even 1/3, you're going to build up to maybe more than you want. It's easier to season up than it takes away. So be careful, just go up. So about halfway through the process, I'll actually taste I'll actually go ahead and give it a little taste to see, do I need to add some more seasoning? And typically you will need to. And now this time I'm going to add some onion powder, and that is nothing with sodium. So we could go to 1 teaspoon in there, just a whole teaspoon. And then we're going to add to that some white pepper. 3/4 teaspoon. We're going to add some, let's do some paprika. A whole teaspoon. Maybe more. Okay, like more than. About a 1 1/3 teaspoon. And to me, I will never agree that any form of paprika has any flavor in my opinion. It just doesn't. For me, it's just color. So it really is not something that you could really mess up with. I don't feel. Now, then at that time, we'll go ahead and step over here and we're going to make sure that the oven is on a nice temperature, like probably we're going to start it out at about a high to let the olive oil just to get real hot, because you want this to sizzle before you go ahead and stick it into the skillet. And guys, I know it takes an extra step to you know, sear your meat, but whatever meat is searable, even if it's roast or something, I always recommend searing it. And the reason why is because it holds in the flavor into your meat. If you sear it first, it'll make your meat juicier. So I'll give it a shot. Let me know. Okay, guys, so now we have heated up our cast iron and we got it like real hot. Now that it is real hot, we're going to turn it down to only about 3. The good thing about cast iron is that it'll maintain a real good heat. Once you heat it up, then you can just make little adjustments to how high or low it needs to be. At this time, we're at about 3 on the stove, okay? So again, I'm not going to use flour or anything. That is not what the recipe calls for. That I'm going with anyway. And I'll just take these and I'll just put some in there. Okay, yeah, so I just kind of let them brown. Let them get nice and golden. You'll see the level that you want to go. So, but you do want to brown these for, I'm going to say, at a nice temperature. Now, at this time, we're going to about 4.5. And I'm going to let them brown for about 6 minutes on either side. Okay, guys, so now what we're going to do, we're going to be gentle with these and we're going to turn them over. Right now, we've been at 5 minutes and we did go ahead and get the heat back up to, we're right at 5. So medium heat. Okay. And as you guys can see, they're nice and golden. And we're, like I said, gently turn them and gently, because you don't want that juice to come out by giving them a nice squeeze to turn over and everything. Okay, guys, so we still have it on medium heat. So that's 5. Right. On my oven it is, but yours may just say medium. So you're going to take the ones that's nice and brown perfectly. And all that juice sealed in, and you're going to put them in your pan that you'll be putting them in the oven with. Okay, let's see here. Okay, guys, so by now, you're looking golden on both sides because you have by now browned all your meat. 5 minutes on each side at medium heat, and you're good. Ooh! You're going to just take them and place them again, like we said, in your pan. Look at that. It's just like a perfect, nice color, and all that juice is locked in. Okay, so now you'll have where your oil, you know, you got some left. But what you're going to do next is you're going to add a nice pat of butter, so about at least a tablespoon, okay? And you're going to put that in there for the sake of flavor and color to your gravy. And you're just going to kind of let it come on down. And then, now what you'll go ahead and do is to this, you're going to add in some onions. And you're going to be adding a little bit of garlic as well. And you know, I feel like maybe did I make beef short ribs on this channel before, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know the answer for sure. But anyway, yeah, so we're just going to put these onions in there because we want that flavor out of there, along with about 3 cloves of garlic cut up in there. And what we want them to do is kind of get like, we're not going for translucent, we're going for like a roasted. That's what we're doing. We're just kind of making sure that it's kind of like a presentation thing as well. But anyway, you want to make them roasted and get that flavor out of there that will go ahead and get and you know, sink into your gravy and everything. Get all the flavor out of the garlic and onion by letting it just be very low in your skillet. And you can at this time turn it up a little bit. It just makes it go faster and stuff, but you want to watch it because, you know, of course butter burns as well. And we don't want a burnt flavor to our gravy. That's not the taste that we're going to go for today. Wipe down your little stuff, whatever. And you're watching this, you are paying attention to it. As you just get all that goodness out of there. Okay, so we got that good onion flavor to where we want it to be. Okay, so now you'll have where your oil, you know, you got some left. But what you're going to do next is you're going to add a nice pat of butter. So about at least a tablespoon, okay? And you're going to put that in there for the sake of flavor and color to your gravy. And you're just going to kind of let it come on down. And then, now what you'll go ahead and do is to this, you're going to add in some onions. And you're going to be adding a little bit of garlic as well. And you know, I feel like maybe did I make beef short ribs on this channel before, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know the answer for sure. But anyway, yeah, so we're just going to put these onions in there because we want that flavor out of there, along with about 3 cloves of garlic cut up in there. And what we want them to do is kind of get like, we're not going for translucent, we're going for like a roasted. That's what we're doing. We're just kind of making sure that it's kind of like a presentation thing as well. But anyway, you want to make them roasted and get that flavor out of there that will go ahead and get and you know, sink into your gravy and everything. Get all the flavor out of the garlic and onion by letting it just be very low in your skillet. And you can at this time turn it up a little bit. It just makes it go faster and stuff. But you want to watch it because, you know, of course, butter burns as well. And we don't want a burnt flavor to our gravy. Okay, guys, so by now we got the flavor of the onion. That is now going into the gravy. So let's go ahead and quickly do the gravy. So we'll just pull these out, and we're just going to kind of put them right on the top of our meat. Just stack it on there, and then, but you want to keep your oil, as much of it as you can keep in the skillet still. Because remember, that has the onion and garlic flavoring, and then we're just seasoning it up as we go. I got a little garlic left, so just make sure you get all that out of your skillet, because like I said, garlic, you know, it has a tendency to burn, and then you add butter to it, is really a chance. So you just gotta go ahead and take that last bit. And just kind of spoon that out with a fork to make sure that you get everything, but you're leaving that oil and that butter in the bottom. Okay, guys, so with that little oil, let's go ahead and make some homemade gravy. And the first things first, when it comes to homemade gravy, there's a few ways that you can make it. This way is how your grandma and everybody probably was making it, okay? But I will, one day I'll show you guys a different way that may be simpler, even if you're beginning. So you want at least 2 tablespoons of flour to go right into that little oil and the butter. And you want to go ahead and begin to kind of whisk it. If you don't have a whisk or what have you, then what you want to do is go ahead and just use your fork. But you want that to definitely, that is just what we're doing now. We're just cooking out the taste of the flour because flour is raw. So we're going to cook out that flour for just a moment. And then as for me, well, we're going to add actually another half a teaspoon of flour because we want this gravy like thick enough. So about 3/4 teaspoon instead, okay? So then anyway, that'll be a total of 3 tablespoons of flour is what the total I want you to add there. And you're just gonna let that cook out of there like that. So it's gonna just look like paste is just sitting there in your pan. It has a little light color to it, which is what we want because we want our gravy brown with this recipe. So then what I like to do, like I said, is have the water that you're going to be using handy. I always like to use extra. And so what we'll do is go ahead and we'll just pour it right into the skillet after we make it into a paste. And how much water do we end up using? About 2 1/4 cup of water. I want your heat to, by now, you should be back up pretty high. So you're at about 8. Right now, so about medium high, and then what you're going to do is be just kind of whisking it lightly. Okay. And we know that got a good flavor between the garlic and onion. But choose what you like in mine. I like my gravy, probably any gravy I make, pretty basic. I don't like it to overpower the flavor of the meat and those things. So anyway, I will definitely enhance it with a teaspoon of accent. And then we're going to add about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to add a nice amount of ground black pepper. What we're going to stick with, okay? So about a teaspoon of black pepper. And then, in this case, this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But anyway, I do like to sometimes add a little bit of this banquet. It's called browning and sauce mix. And it's for gravy, sauce, soups, and stews. And it's by Kitchen Bouquet. But it's good to have on hand. So I'll add about a half teaspoon of that as well. And then I just watch it before my eyes go ahead and get nice and thick and gravy-like. See, and it's nice and smooth. It's not like that lumpiness, you know. So, I mean, there are things that probably seem a little bit more challenging. I don't know, but in all honesty, anything is possible for anybody. Okay, that's what it is. And so if I was finishing off my meal and not putting this in the oven, what I would actually do is just let it thicken and thicken. You know what I mean? Until it's like, I don't know, just a little thicker. But what I'm doing in this case, I'm going to, you know, smother my meat with this gravy. So as it cooks in the oven, it's going to continue to thicken. So I don't need it like extra thick, like it's ready to go. But as you guys can see the thickness to it, because you can see how the bubbles form differently than before. So now what I do, I go ahead and turn that off. I probably get like a little final stir. Yeah, my gravy, I like it straightforward, you know. And a lot of things that we use this day and age, that is not what those good old cooks and our ancestors, that's not really what they were using, because they didn't really have a lot of access to this stuff. So you could be simplistic or as complex as you want. So that, now we'll go ahead and pour that gravy, just smother it. That nice smooth gravy over your meat, honey. Oh, I already know this is going to be so good. Now what we're going to do is cover it really, really good with some aluminum foil. Oh, I had to just run my finger over that gravy, honey. It is like that perfect flavor. There's such a balance. And all those flavors complementing one another, and the gravy bomb, the meat's gonna be. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and cover that real tight. And then we'll put it in the oven on 300 degrees for 4 hours. Yeah, I know that sounds like a long time. I mean, but some things are worth waiting for, you know. And you know, and again, some of you guys may know or not, but I'm a low and slow cook. Yeah, that's how I cook. I'm like one of them cooks you be getting mad because I done been slow cooking for so long. You got to wait until it's done and you be smelling it. Needless to say, we're going to get in the oven on 300 degrees right now. Okay guys, so with our smothered beef short ribs, we're just having some broccoli and cheese and roasted potatoes. And just some rolls or biscuits or whatever. And as you guys can see, the perfect consistency of the gravy and blah. And then the tenderness. They're fork tender, you know what I mean? And so this is after 4 hours. And then at a point, I even turned them down to only 275 degrees. Because sometimes when you're like cooking a little bit faster and everything like that, what can happen is that it'll toughen up your meat. So I was starting out at, I think, 300, and then I decided to turn it down. And then, so anyway, we're just going to go ahead and plate that. And like I said, that gravy is just perfect. I wish I'd made some maybe mashed potatoes, but we had that last night. So anyway, that's that. Fork tender Okay, so that's it. That is the oil. All right, God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day.